Welcome back to the course. In this video, we are going to create our first application within our Django project. First of many, because applications in Django help to make our code better organized and maintainable. So later, these applications will interact with each other. But for now, I don't want to go deep on what applications are, how they work, because we will learn on the way. So the first thing is to set up a new application for the authors. I'm going to quit the development server from running by pressing Ctrl C, and then I'm going to type Python manage py start app, and the name of the app is going to be authors. All right, I'm going to press enter, and then I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code by pressing code and dot and then enter. If this command doesn't work for you, then what you need to do is to simply run Command Shift P and then shell command installed code command in path. Press OK, and then you probably need to close Visual Studio Code and then open it up again with code and then dot and enter. If this doesn't work, please leave a comment in the comment section to this video, and you can of course open Visual Studio Code in an easy way by dragging and dropping the source directory into Visual Studio Code. All right, so over here we have our authors application, and then we have our core folder. So this core folder is our main project folder, and here we have, among others, the settings.py file. The settings.py file is a configuration file, and for now the most important section is this installed apps list. Okay, so over here, once we add an application, we need to add it to the installed apps list. All right, let's save the settings.py file. We will have a short overview of this particular configuration file a little bit later on. For now, let's have a short overview of the file structure of the authors application. The first thing to notice is that this file structure is exactly the same for every application that we are creating. So every application created with Python manage py start app will look in the same way. This doesn't mean that you have all the necessary files and folders right away. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. This is just the core foundation that you get from running the Python manage py start app and the name of the application. But then you have to add your own files and folders depending on your needs. So for example, over here, a urls.py file might be missing, a signals.py might be missing, a templates directory might be missing, a static directory might be missing, and so on. So I don't want to confuse you too much. Let's do something practical first. So first of all, I'm going to jump in the models.py file, and here I'm going to create a new class called author. So this is going to be a representation of the database table. So this will inherit from models.model, and the models are already imported from DjangoDB. So here we are just going to have one field, which is going to be the name, and this is going to be a models char field with the max length of 200. And I'm going to leave it as it is. So just to understand what this class actually means, whenever we create a class, we create a database table, and whenever we add a field, it's like adding a column to this particular table. And then once we have the authors, in Django we will say we have objects, but in fact they are nothing else but rows in the database table. So for now we can go ahead and save this, and what we can do is to create the migrations. So migrations in Django are like a set of instructions which tell our application how to update the database whenever we make changes to our code. Okay, so they make it easy to ensure that the database schema simply matches our code, and we will see this in practice right now. So let's go to the terminal and let's write Python manage py, make migrations. Let's press enter. And if we open up the migration file, we have this 0001 initial py. So this is the file that has been created. So this is the file containing the instructions for creating this particular database table in this case, okay? So let's take a look at it right now. We have migrations create model with the fields, okay? And here are the fields that come with this particular model. We have an ID and the name. Okay, if we go to the extensions and search for SQLite Viewer, there it is. Please go ahead and install it. And then if you open up the DB, you will notice that we don't have this table just yet. So these are the pre-built database tables that come with Django, and they are created with the database once you run initially Python manage py migrate, but you don't see over here our table or our author. So in order to do this, we actually need to execute those instructions. And in order to execute them, we need to run Python manage py migrate. Okay. And right now, if we close this DB SQLite 3 and then open it up again, we will see a new table called authors as the application name and author as the class name, okay? So if we open it up, we have no records, but we see those two fields, the ID and the name. If we go to Django administration, hit refresh. Of course, we need to have development server running. So Python manage py run server. Okay. I need to log in. We don't see this particular class in the Django admin, but we can change this in a very simple way. We need to go to the admin py, import our model. So import our author model by typing from .models. Dot because our admin py is in the same directory as our models py file. So we want to import a class which is in the models py file, and this models py file is basically next to our admin py, okay? And then from .models we want to import author, and then we need to run admin site register and pass in the author. Now let's save this. Let's go back to the Django administration, and there we have it. So we can add our first object, our first row in the database table, in the authors table. So let's do it very quickly. I'm going to put in maybe just test author, and I'm going to save it. And we have over here author object 1. So this doesn't look very nice, and we can change it by going to the models py file and then adding a string representation method. And here we can return the self name. All right, let's go ahead and save this. And we have the test author. We can return with the f string the self name like this. Remember to close the quotation marks at the end. And here we can add author as a constant, you can say. Let's save this. And there we have it. All right, I think this is enough for this particular video. In the next one, we will probably create other applications and add them to the installed apps list.